Hey guys, welcome to tonight's testimony call. So excited to have Alana and Anna on here. They are both in Phoenix, Arizona. Alana, you've been an ambassador for what? Has it been 3 years? 2 years?
March 31st will be 3 years.
3 years. Okay, I thought it was about 3 years. Yeah, it's hard to believe it's been that long. Yes, it's been great. I've loved watching your journey. Alana's going to share her testimony and what Plexus has done for her, and then Anna's going to share after that. But we are excited to hear what you guys have to say. So go ahead.
Okay. So hi, everybody. It's good to see everybody on here tonight. So first of all, I know a few of you probably know my testimony, but not everybody. About 20 years ago, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder that affects my thyroid. And at the time, the doctors told me there's nothing we can do for it. We can just put you on thyroid maintenance medication. You just have to live with the chronic fatigue. I was having joint pain, major brain fog. I was so tired all the time. I was trying to homeschool our kids, and I just could hardly make it through the day. I was just so super tired. And then the other thing was I have had chronic hives ever since I was about 12. And so just could never get those under control. The doctors always thought it was allergy related and put me through skin tests every few years, and nothing would ever show up. So then fast forward about 8 years ago, I had a major flare up, and the only way they could get it to calm down was to put me on steroids. And then at that point, I was on 8 medications, and almost all of those were antihistamines. And so combine chronic fatigue with 6 antihistamines a day, I was a mess. So the doctors never saw the connection between the two, the hives or the autoimmune, until I was forced to find a new doctor about 8 years ago. And she was like, oh yeah, I've seen this in some of my other patients. But about almost 3 years ago, like we were talking a minute ago, I started seeing Peggy posting about Plexus, and I just kind of ignored it because I thought it sounded too good to be true, like everybody thinks, right? And I just kept passing that on by. But then, I don't know, I got desperate. And I saw that she had a special 1 month. And so I told John, I was like, I'm just going to give this a try. And he's like, yeah, go for it. And he decided to try it with me. And the crazy thing was I noticed the energy difference right away, but John felt nothing. And to this day, he really doesn't feel any different. But what was the deciding point for him was 2 months in, we had to go and get blood work done for our health insurance. And for years, his doctor has said, you're borderline high cholesterol. They wanted to put him on medication, but they didn't. Just told him to watch his diet and exercise. So 2 months in, we had our labs done, and his cholesterol came down 25 points. And he was like, I'm sold. And my glucose levels came down almost that much at that point too. And so then within 6 months, my doctor took me off of metformin because I was also insulin resistant. One thing that goes along with an autoimmune is you usually have chronic inflammation, so insulin resistance goes along with that. And metformin was not real fun to be on. It created a lot of stomach upset and digestive issues for me. So the other thing I noticed right away was, like I said, I had more energy. I didn't have the afternoon crash. And about a month or so in, I was hiking, and I was on top of our mountain, and I saw the monsoon clouds all around me, which here in Arizona, we don't get a lot of clouds until monsoon season. And that was always a major trigger for my migraines. And I was standing on top of the mountain, and I almost started to cry because I was like, oh my goodness, there's all these clouds, and I'm not home in bed with the curtains drawn. I was standing up there, and I didn't have any head pain at all. So that was a huge thing for me. So at that point, because I had told Peggy, I said, I'm going to do this, but I'm just going to be a wholesale ambassador. I'm not going to share. I've tried the MLM thing before. I'm not doing that. But at that point, I realized I needed to share with my sister because she also has an autoimmune disorder. And some of you know her story, and hopefully we can get her on here soon to share hers too. But every 6 months, I've had to get my labs done. That's just something I've had to do over the past 20 years is go in every 6 months, have my labs drawn, change my medication a little bit. But since I have been taking the supplements, my numbers have been steadily improving. And the last 3 visits that I've had with my doctor, she's told me everything's perfect. And she just keeps saying that, and she's just surprised that everything's perfect. And so this last time I went in, she told me, I don't have to see you for a year. So that was huge. I don't have to go back for a year. And so I am now off of 4 medications, and my thyroid maintenance medication, the dosage has been lowered. So that is a huge plus for me. Another thing is John has always had indigestion at bedtime, especially if we eat something tomato-based, so pizza, spaghetti, anything like that. He always had really bad indigestion, and once he started on the products, that went away completely. In fact, I think I posted a couple of years ago about finding an old bottle of medication in the cabinet and throwing it away because he just doesn't need it anymore. And then another thing was our kids, we were spending literally thousands of dollars at the dermatologist. And the dermatologist was getting frustrated with me because I told him we can't afford the copay of the stuff they wanted the kids to be using topically. And then if you just looked at what that could do to them, the side effects, it was awful. And the first thing they do when they go in to see the dermatologist is put them on a low dose antibiotic. And when they would come off of the antibiotic, then their skin would break out again. And I had one doctor tell me, well, they can just stay on it forever. I've been on it for years. And I knew enough at that point, before I was even involved with Plexus, to know that was not healthy. So I think it was probably 6 months in, I asked Nathan, our son, to give it a try. And he was kind of our guinea pig. And he agreed to try it. And I did not even tell him what it was going to do for him. But a few weeks in, he came to me and he's like, I don't know what's happening to me, but I don't even want Mountain Dew anymore, which was huge because he had it all the time. And I don't know, probably 2 months in, he had lost over 30 pounds because he was starting to get kind of chubby with the Mountain Dew and the ice cream and everything. And then his face cleared up, and his face is clear to this point. And he is completely sold on the products. He tells everybody he works with what they've done for him. And now my girls are taking it too. They're sold on it. Their skin is all cleared up. So I think that's pretty much. Oh, the other thing I was going to mention was with the hives, I always had to be really careful about temperature changes. And that would make them so much worse. And here in Phoenix, of course, our summers are brutal. We get up to around 120 degrees, and it's just really brutal to be outside. And I don't know, it was a couple months ago, my daughter, Michaela, mentioned to me, and I'd completely forgotten about it, that I used to get in the longer line at the gas station so that I could be sure and get the pump that was in the shade, because if I stood out in the sun, I would start to get hives. And I just completely forgot about it until she mentioned it. But I have not gotten in the longer line probably for almost 3 years. I don't even think about it when I go to the gas station anymore. I just pull up to whatever pump is available. So I guess that's kind of in a nutshell what it's done for me. But it has been life-changing. So anyway, so I am here with Anna, and for those of you who don't know, she is my best friend, and she is co-grandma with me. We have the cutest little grandson together. So she's second mom to my daughter. So I'm excited for you to hear what Plexus has done for her.
Well, so about 3 years ago, I was diagnosed with MS, and I was having all kinds of symptoms. Fatigue, vertigo was really bad, and the heat exasperates that. We live in Phoenix, so it would be horrible. I couldn't even function, really, laying around, just so tired. Weakness, muscle weakness, headaches. I couldn't sleep very well, so I had sleep problems. And even before that, I had a lot of stomach issues, so I would take Imodium a lot. So I dealt with that even earlier on. So, but once I was diagnosed with MS, they were going to put me on prescription meds, but that made me really nervous because I don't know, I have a thing about prescription medication. But I had known that Valana was in Plexus and that she was doing really well. And I think you might have approached me once, and I might have been like, no, that's okay.
I think so.
I think so, yeah. But then when I was looking at the prospect of prescription meds and just feeling terrible, and then I was going to start a part-time job too. That was the other thing. I just was not feeling well at all. So I thought, and I knew it was a multi-level marketing, and I have done many of those. And so I was kind of wavering between, do I want to, but because I trusted her, I said, okay, I want to try it. I want to get on it, but I am not selling. I'm not going to do that. I've been there, done that, but I want to support you. And so I started it, and then so that was about 2 years ago. I did get on the products. I started with Triplex, but I didn't take it consistently in the very beginning. So it took probably about 4 months for me to really start to get, to have the effects of it. And out of the get-go, though, I did have more energy. I will say that. And I think that was from the Slim. And to this day, I think Slim's probably my favorite product, but I had energy right away. And so that was a very big deal for me. So I was on it for a year, was feeling really good, normal, or so I thought. And then I ended up in menopause. So I was like, no. So, but here's the thing that's really cool about that is I'm not taking anything for menopause at all. And I didn't really notice a big difference when I entered into menopause because I was already taking the products. So, I mean, sometimes I feel kind of, but for the most part, and that's where Vital Biome and X Factor Plus, when I added those in too, man, I think those were lifesavers as well. So then after a year of being on that and not having any flares with my MS and being in menopause, I was like, well, I can't believe how great I feel. And then watching her post all of her stuff, and it was like, man, she seems to be doing really well in Plexus. And I'm thinking you might have even gone gold or something.
I think I had gone gold.
I think that might have been what it was. And I was like, oh, so that got my attention, and I was thinking, oh man, I wonder, maybe I could do this. I know the multi-level marketing. But then I said, you know what, I'm just going to do it. And I prayed about it too, and I really felt like I didn't get I had peace about it. So I said, okay, show me what I need to do. And that, I guess that's pretty much history. And so today I'm feeling really good. I don't have any symptoms. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I feel a little bad or tired or whatever. But that, honestly, compared to where I was to where I am now, it's a lifesaver. And I'm on no meds, no prescription meds, no nothing. So that's such a praise. And I think the other thing too that was a big deal for me was sugar cravings, because I do struggle with overeating. And I will say that Plexus has helped me so much in my battle with overeating. So now I still struggle with that, but Plexus helps me with control. It helps me not crave sugar. And I can have, like a small piece of whatever, and I'm good with that. It used to be I could have a whole bag of Oreo cookies